Cordova. Our crews have seen FBI.
On April 1st, 2026, FBI agents pulled up with serious intent, executing a search and arrest warrant at the Williams family home out in Cordova, Tennessee. They didn't just show up, they left with computers, sealed evidence bags, and Pooh Shiesty's father in handcuffs. But hold up, it gets deeper, because when the feds hit your house like that, they usually already know something, and people started saying Pooh could be facing life behind bars. So what really happened that morning? The raid itself went down around 6 a.m. on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, when FBI agents carried out a federal court-approved search and arrest warrant at a home located at 9190 Beaver Valley Lane in Cordova, just outside Memphis. That property is registered under Lontrell D. Williams, the legal name shared by both Pooh Shiesty and his father, Lontrell Donald Williams Sr. Neighbors reported hearing flashbangs explode and commands being shouted through loudspeakers as agents forced their way inside. For hours, agents moved in and out of the house, thoroughly searching every part of the property. They checked everything, from inside the home to vehicles parked in both the garage and driveway. When everything had settled, cameras only caught computer monitors and brown paper evidence bags being taken out. No firearms, no drugs, no stacks of cash. None of the things people expected were seen or confirmed by local media. There was also no official inventory list released to the public. Pooh Shiesty's father, Lontrell Williams Sr., a Memphis artist known as Mob Boss and founder of Mob Ties Records, was arrested and booked into Shelby County custody that same day. And here's where it gets strange. No official charges against him were publicly announced. Not a single major outlet confirmed that Pooh Shiesty himself, Lontrell Williams Jr., was arrested or even at the house during the raid. Meanwhile, his Instagram kept posting music like nothing even happened. No statement, no reaction, just silence while the internet went crazy. And honestly, that silence made everything feel even more suspicious. That's all the public really has to go on. It's not much, but the reason this raid hit so hard online had nothing to do with a few computers being taken out. To really understand why this moment felt bigger than it looked, you've got to know the background of the man behind the name. Lontrell Williams Jr. was born on November 8, 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee. He grew up in the Cane Creek apartments on the south side. His father already had roots in the local rap scene, so the influence was there early. Even his name carries a story. Pooh came from a nickname his grandmother gave him before he was even born, and Shiesty, that came from the streets, describing his energy and how he moved. The name stuck, and it became his identity. He later built a crew called Chopper Gang, started dropping low-budget music videos, and pushed his content through his own YouTube channel. Then, listen to this, one night in 2020, while lying in bed, everything changed when he received a direct message from Gucci Mane.
No, hell no, this ain't real. Text him back, I say, what chopping? He text back, right then and there, like he was on it.
Everything changed the moment Gucci Mane reached out, because by April 2020, Pooh Shiesty was officially signed to 1017 Records through Atlantic, and he was only 20 years old at the time. Then boom, his debut mixtape Shiesty Season dropped in February 2021 and didn't just land, it exploded, debuting at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and eventually going double platinum. And hold up, it gets crazier because Back in Blood with Lil Durk climbed all the way to number 13 on the Hot 100 and ran up 8 times platinum, which is insane for a new artist. He didn't ease into the game, he kicked the door down and instantly became the hottest new name coming out of Memphis. And the scary part is, he was just getting started. Memphis has been producing artists like this for decades, but let's be real, the city has always had a complicated relationship with its own talent. The same culture that built 3-6 Mafia, pushed crunk into the mainstream, and shaped the generation that fed into CMG in 1017 runs on one rule: you can't fake. You don't just claim the streets, you have to come from them. And when Pooh Shiesty showed up, he fit that mold so perfectly that the culture embraced him instantly. He wasn't acting or playing a role, he was literally a product of that environment. The ski mask image, the Choppa Gang ties, the South Memphis roots in every bar, and that raw delivery all reflected someone who lived what he rapped before the industry even figured him out. Even his own words showed it. His mindset was built on knowing you had to align with certain camps in the city to move forward. So when he signed to 1017, it didn't feel like he switched up. It felt like a natural progression. And a big part of that is because Gucci Mane himself had already come home from a federal sentence in 2016 as a completely different person, focused, disciplined, and still respected in both the streets and the industry. That move gave Pooh the chance to step into the major spotlight without losing the identity that made people respect him in the first place. But here's where things take a turn, because the timeline gets messy real fast. That same year, October 2020, he faced state charges in Florida tied to an incident at the Landing Hotel in Bay Harbor Islands near Miami. And listen, this wasn't just one situation, because that incident, along with two others, became the foundation of a federal firearms conspiracy case that followed him for years. On October 9, 2020, Pooh Shiesty and two associates, Bobby Brown and Jaden DeRosa, pulled up to the hotel planning to buy weed, lean, and some high-end sneakers. He arrived in a rented McLaren, which already made the situation stand out. According to prosecutors, the deal went left in the parking lot, and that's when guns came out and the two victims were robbed. One victim was shot in the backside, and the other was hit in the hip. And here's the part you won't believe. Surveillance cameras captured everything, from the arrival to the shots being fired to the escape. As they sped off, a Louis Vuitton bag full of cash fell out of the McLaren. That bag ended up being a critical mistake. The serial numbers on the money matched the exact cash Pooh had shown on Instagram just days earlier, in photos where he was also holding guns and posing in that same car. He turned himself in on October 13, 2020, facing charges like armed robbery, aggravated battery, assault, and theft, but posted a $30,000 bond and walked out. And while all this was happening, he kept recording music like nothing slowed down. His career kept rising, but at the same time, the federal case was quietly building behind the scenes. And it didn't stop with the hotel incident. A July 7, 2020 shooting at a gas station in Memphis where he was in the car, and a May 30, 2021 situation at King of Diamonds in Miami where a security guard was allegedly shot, both got tied into the same case. Prosecutors framed it as a pattern of gun-related violence. By June 2021, he was hit with federal charges and denied bond. At the same time, Back in Blood was dominating charts, and his name was everywhere in the industry. Think about that. He went from getting a DM from Gucci Mane to sitting in a federal cell in under 2 years. And the worst part? The most serious charges were still ahead. The indictment included 4 counts, each carrying heavy time. One of them, discharging a firearm during a violent crime, came with life on the line. The biggest breakout artist from Memphis in years was suddenly facing the possibility of never coming home. And that's what set the stage for everything that followed. Now hold up, the federal case itself was serious from the jump, because in June 2021, the indictment dropped out of the Southern District of Florida, and this type of paperwork can end careers before they even peak. He was charged with conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of violent crimes, conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery, committing Hobbs Act robbery, and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. That last charge, that's the one that carried life. 4 counts total, all stacked up with serious time attached. The feds built their case piece by piece, the way they always do when they're trying to make it airtight. They had surveillance footage from a hotel parking lot, ironically right across from a police station. They had victim identifications, shell casings, and social media posts placing him at the scene with the same car and money. And then there was that Louis Vuitton bag again, the one that tied everything together through serial numbers. Bill by bill, they connected the evidence back to him. By the time his plea came up, his co-defendants had already been sentenced. Jaden DeRosa got 96 months, 8 years in federal prison, while Bobby Brown received 56 months. None of them went to trial, and none of them cooperated against each other. And Pooh made sure people knew that too, posting paperwork on Instagram to shut down snitch rumors. His message was clear. The team stayed solid under pressure. Then, on January 4, 2022, in federal court, he took a plea deal on one count related to firearm conspiracy tied to violence and drug trafficking. In exchange, 3 charges were dropped, including the one that could have given him life. He admitted involvement in all 3 incidents: the Memphis shooting, the hotel robbery, and the Miami strip club situation. His lawyer, Bradford Cohen, pushed back hard. The defense pointed out that Pooh reportedly had over $3.4 million at the time and was riding in a $200,000 McLaren with thousands in cash on him, so the idea that he would risk everything for a small drug deal in sneakers didn't make sense. They also argued there was no direct proof he fired the weapon. Yes, he was present, but not the shooter. The prosecution stuck to one thing: the footage doesn't lie. And on April 20th, 2022, the judge handed down 63 months in federal prison plus 3 years of supervised release. The government wanted 97 months, but the defense pushed for 63, and that's exactly what the judge gave. It came in below both the requested sentence and the guideline maximum. When sentencing happened, Atlantic Records executives and even Gucci Mane showed up in court. That kind of support is rare, and it likely made an impact. He also received credit for time already served since June 2021. Eventually, he was transferred to USP Canaan in Pennsylvania, and from that point on, he started counting every day.
A lot of writing while in there, so I got a lot of notepads, notebooks, raps. Anything I can rap on: an envelope, a shot incident report, a napkin.
3 full years locked up turned into pure creativity, with bars written on notebooks, scraps, envelopes, anything he could get his hands on. And hold up, he didn't just write music. He kept every single fan letter too, neatly organized, carrying them everywhere the system moved him like they meant something deeper. He even spoke about getting messages from the UK, from people he had never met, just reaching out to remind them they were still locked in with him. Inside that federal prison, in that slow, draining routine with no clear finish line, those letters became more than paper. They were the only thing keeping him mentally connected to the outside and pushing him to survive. Now here's the part people don't realize. While he was sitting inside, his wave didn't stop. It kept moving without him. New artists started popping up, the game kept shifting, and names like Lil Baby and Lil Durk even reached out, showing he still had respect in the industry. Even Gucci Mane, Yo Gotti, Key Glock, and Glorilla stayed tapped in. He watched all of this from behind the walls and just kept writing, non-stop. And honestly, he said that isolation became his most productive zone. No distractions, just him, his thoughts, and endless hours to create. He even claimed that by the time he got out, all someone had to do was say one word and he could rap endlessly. That's what those 3 years did. It either breaks you or turns you into something way more dangerous mentally. Then, boom, October 6, 2025, he finally touched down, getting out early after about 3 years thanks to Good Behavior and First Step Act credits. His lawyer, Bradford Cohen, confirmed it was legit, not rumors. But don't get it twisted, he wasn't fully free. He got placed into supervised release through a re-entry program in Dallas, Texas. His official sentence wasn't even done yet, still running until April 11, 2026. And yeah, the conditions were strict: check-ins, staying clean, no trouble, no ties with co-defendants, and random searches at any time. But here's the crazy part. The rule that had everybody talking was directly tied to his career. He was required to work at least 30 hours a week on music as part of his probation. Sounds easy, right? Nah, because the court blocked him from touring, meaning he could record in the studio but couldn't hit the road. On top of that, he had an ankle monitor tracking every move. He even said it himself. He was 75% free. The bracelet stayed on, travel stayed restricted, but he kept grinding anyway because time was ticking. And when he finally dropped music again in December 2025, yeah, the whole culture paid attention. Now let's talk about the comeback and the drama that followed. His track First Day Out hit in December 2025 and immediately felt like a statement. By early January 2026, it climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100, landing in the top 15 just weeks into the new year. That alone told you everything, no explanation needed. This was exactly what fans have been waiting 3 years for, a rapper who went in at his peak, stayed solid, and came back sharper than ever. The fans who held him down, even those writing letters from overseas, finally got their answer. He didn't fold. He came back running. But hold up, even at the start of that comeback, something felt off. In January 2026, records briefly listed him at a Dallas facility with an April release date, and the internet went crazy. People instantly assumed the worst, spreading rumors that he was locked back up and his comeback was already over. His team and voices like DJ Academics shut that down fast. It wasn't a new arrest, just standard home confinement for the final stretch. He wasn't back in prison. He was in Dallas, working under strict rules with that ankle monitor still on. He even addressed it himself on IG Live, not dodging anything. And remember, he already proved his stance before by posting paperwork to shut down snitch rumors. This was a man who faced federal charges with life on the line, and his whole circle stood firm. But underneath all of that, there was still something bigger brewing. Because here's where it gets messy, the Gucci Mane rumors. Yeah, these stories had been circulating quietly for months before they finally blew up. Allegations started spreading that Pooh Shiesty and Big 30 supposedly pressed Gucci and robbed him at gunpoint. The details? They kept changing depending on who told it. Some said it involved jewelry, others claimed it was about forcing a contract release from 107 Records, basically trying to get out of the deal by pressure. The wildest versions tied everything back to the 2022 death of Big Scar, his close family and label mate, and the belief that Gucci didn't handle that situation properly. According to the rumor, Gucci stayed silent because speaking on it would damage his image, and in the streets, silence sometimes speaks louder than words. Platforms and insiders started picking it up, including voices like Adam22, who claimed he had heard it from multiple Memphis sources close to the situation. He even explained why he believed there might be truth to it, saying he'd been hearing about it long before it went public. And that right there is what made people start looking at everything differently. This is the part that had everybody talking behind the scenes, like something every real rap fan had already heard whispers about. The way Adam broke it down, the whole strength of the rumor really came down to one thing: what Gucci didn't do. We're talking about someone who protected his name through beef, prison time, personal struggles, industry politics, and over 2 decades at the top of Atlanta's rap game. And somehow, he never came out and completely shut this story down the way you'd expect if it were completely false. I mean, think about it. If there was zero truth, wouldn't he have crushed it immediately? Adam wasn't claiming it happened, though. He kept it careful. What he was really pointing at was the silence. And sometimes, silence hits louder than any response, especially when it's coming from someone with that level of power. The fact that nothing was fully closed off left people questioning things. And then there's another layer. What would it even cost Gucci to speak on it publicly? I'm not saying anything definitely went down, but you can't ignore how calculated everything looked. Now hold up, imagine the version of events where Gucci actually got pressured into signing a contract at gunpoint. Think about what that would mean for his image, the boogeyman of the South, the guy who built his reputation on never folding. Would he really come out and admit something like that publicly? Exactly, that's the dilemma. Even when Lil Woody spoke on Vlad TV, he stayed neutral, didn't confirm anything, but he didn't shut it down either. And the biggest clue people kept going back to was Gucci's reaction when the rumors blew up. No diss track, no public confrontation, nothing like that. Instead, he posted a simple video showing his wedding ring. No words, just visuals. That was it. And honestly, that kind of response says a lot without saying anything at all. The laughing emojis, quietly deleting Pooh's welcome home post, staying completely silent, it felt intentional. This is a man who already went through the worst, came home, rebuilt everything, and now moves with extreme discipline. He knows speaking publicly can open doors to more problems, so he stayed quiet, let the noise die down, and kept it moving. But let's be real, we need to separate facts from speculation. Because here's the truth, none of these robbery allegations involving Gucci Mane have ever been officially confirmed. No police reports, no court documents, no statements from Gucci, Pooh Shiesty, or anyone directly involved have backed up these claims. Even the FBI hasn't linked those rumors to the April 1st raid, and that detail matters more than people think. Until something official shows up, documents, charges, filings, this whole situation stays in the category of street talk that social media amplified. What we do know about that raid points in a completely different direction. Now here's where it gets deeper. Lantrell Williams Sr., otherwise known as Mob Boss and founder of Mob Ties Records, has his own past, including a serious charge back in 2004. The Cordova house, bought in 2023, is under the shared family name, and here's the key detail. The father is the one that got arrested, not the son. There's no confirmation that Pooh Shiesty was even there during the raid. So the real question becomes, who's this investigation actually targeting? Is it focused on the father? Does it extend to Pooh Shiesty? Or is this opening up a completely new chapter in his story? Right now, nobody knows for sure. And this is what makes the timing feel almost unreal. Pooh was just about 10 days from finishing his entire sentence when the FBI showed up in the family home. April 11th, 2026. That was supposed to be the final date. He had already done everything, served time, completed halfway house, worn the ankle monitor, followed strict rules, rebuilt his life, even bought his mom a $1.1 million house. He dropped music that was charting again and was building real momentum toward a full comeback. 10 days, that's all that was left. And then, boom, the feds hit his family home with flashbangs. Even he admitted later that the street image and everything tied to it weren't worth it. He had studied the blueprint while locked up, especially the comeback story of Gucci Mane himself. And yeah, that irony is hard to ignore. Because think about it, the same man whose comeback inspired him is now at the center of the loudest rumors around his own situation. And the same house tied to the artist Gucci helped put on is now part of an active federal investigation. No confirmed details, no official charges announced publicly. Everything is still unfolding behind closed doors. As of April 1st, 2026, nothing has been formally filed against Pooh Shiesty in connection with that raid. The case is still active, and federal investigations like this stay sealed for weeks, sometimes months. When the truth comes out, it won't be through rumors, it'll be through indictments and court records. So right now, here's what we actually have. Evidence taken, a father in custody, no confirmed charges have been publicly explained, and a rapper just days away from full freedom was suddenly pulled back into uncertainty. The real answer to what the feds found, nobody outside that investigation knows yet. And that's exactly why the internet exploded when that footage dropped. Because let's be honest, the feds don't move like that for no reason. Whatever was inside those evidence bags, it's going to come out eventually. Federal cases don't stay hidden forever. And this story, it's not over. It's still